Okay, so I thought of one other thing I needed to talk about. I meant to talk about this, and I totally forgot. Um, when you talk about copying things over from another shell, one of the things you'll need to look at is the lockdown browser settings. So we copied over that lockdown browser test, but we didn't look at the settings. So um, lockdown browsing settings were not copied for one or more exams, and that's always true. So you'll need to come in here and you'll see that there are errors with those things. So we need to fix those errors. So if you see anything that says an error, fix it. What you'll need to do is come in and say, okay, let's fix that. So what we have to do is go fix and then review what those settings are. So the way that we typically set our settings is that we require the Respondus lockdown browser. We do look at the advanced settings. We typically lock the students into the browser until the exam is completed. We do not allow them to access any external content. We enable the calculator, and it's a scientific calculator. We do not allow them to print. When we set up the proctoring, we typically do webcam and screen. That way we can see what they're doing on their screen as well as what they are doing. If you have a student who is refusing to use the lockdown browser, we can set this up to allow the instructors to do live proctoring as well. Okay, so this allows them to do certain things in different ways. So this option enables us to use the lockdown browser and a video conferencing system. So rather than using the Respondus, so it uses the lockdown browser, but it doesn't require the other part. So, sorry, uses the lockdown browser, but it doesn't require the proctoring, the Respondus monitor. So if they won't use the Respondus monitor, now we can do this with live proctoring. So there are some students who refuse to use the Respondus monitor. They don't have, whatever, they don't have it set up so that they can do that. We can set them up to do it this way. So I've had some students who have set that up. So you can set it up using that if you need to. I always have them do all of these checks. Okay. When we talk about the face detection, I usually leave these. When we talk about the advanced settings, you need to make sure that you give them allow use of an iPad for this. Okay. Because we have students that use iPads and we tell them that they can use it. So we need to make sure that that is set. We typically don't use the additionally delivered in a proctored lab, no webcam or screen recording. Now, if they're going to a proctored lab, we can make arrangements for that. That can be done, but that's a completely outside of the normal. So that's a very different way of doing things. And I never, ever use the enable show your work because what that does is it allows them to show their work to the camera. What happens if they do that is that it's this vague, wobbly image of their work that I can't read. And I can't zoom in on it. It's not a static picture. So I never use it. I make them take pictures and turn in their work. So I never enable that. So then I save and close that. So you'll need to do this for any of the ones that you're looking at. So you'll need to make sure that you check that for any test that you copied over. Now, you notice it looks like there's nothing there. That's because you need to scroll back up to find the rest of them. So you need to check that for all of the tests that are here. Now, it looks like the test for the lockdown browser has not been copied. Okay, they need to have that test. So we need to make sure that we go and copy that. And I thought we copied it over, but let's go copy that. So import, export, copy. And search for offering. And I'm just going to copy it for one of my masters. Because you've got to make sure that they're testing it. If they don't test it, then they run into problems like the day of. And so We have a bunch of masters for these, so you can feel free to use most of them, but I just want that. Now, all of these shells are supposed to have these things automatically loaded, but they don't always get loaded. So I don't know what happened because that was supposed to happen automatically, but apparently that's not happening anymore. So okay. Weird. I'll talk to Nathan about that because it's not showing up and I don't know why it's not showing up. Anyway, I would check all of your Lockdown browser settings for all of your tests before you let them take a test. So just come in and make sure that you've checked everything. The one that I checked everything for was the final, so you can compare it to the final. The Chem 211 tests that Maria were using the last time were these ones right here, but she's got some other versions of the tests in here as well. So this is final exam version 2, this is final exam version 4. We have 2 different versions that are loaded. You're going to be using 4 this time, and test 1, 2, and 3 are some old tests that she has, so you can look at those as well. You are free to use any of those questions for any of those tests, but it's entirely up to you. So I would check the browser settings or the response settings to make sure that they're good. But again, the standard I would use is what's in version 4. And that way you can make sure they're all the same. Okay. Anyway, I think that works. And I'll talk to Nathan about the check is not showing because it used to, and I'm not sure why it's not because I've copied it twice and it's not showing up. So I'll talk to Nathan about that and see what's going on. Okay. I think that's everything, and I hope that helps. Talk to you later.